Hey, welcome to the Fire Chat podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Rich Rice, and today on the show I have Mr. Roy Tompkins. Roy, thanks for joining me. Say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody.
And you are joining us from Ukaipa. You've been a long-time IRIC member. And I guess this is the Fire Chat podcast, so we like to jump in with financial independence through real estate. That's why we're all here. I do like to start off and asking people, like, what is your background with real estate? And then maybe we'll jump into the financial freedom side of it. So what is your background with real estate? How long you've been doing it? What's your experience like?
Okay, so my background was actually not in real estate directly.
Okay.
The reason why I got in is because I was in the financial services side. So as I would sit with a client, we'd find out ways to leverage money. And maybe it's out of their home equity or old retirement accounts or something like that. And then I had a business partner that was a real estate investor. And so I would refer them to him and he would invest their money into real estate.
Really?
Yeah. So after years of doing that, I started, perking up and being like, hey, wait a second, I'm seeing some big returns that they're getting through this real estate stuff. And I kind of want to get involved. So I started studying real estate a little bit more. I was already doing mortgages and all that, and just took the time to kind of learn, and I did that for years. So
really,
I did the mistake of just learning for a long time because I wanted to know everything before I got started.
Yeah.
So I spent years doing
Some people
that.
do. Yeah, I got you.
And then
I was just having that conversation with somebody the other day.
Yeah. And I was still working a full-time job. So I was an engineer, and I remember I was in Mexico working on a job site and sitting there one day and thinking, man, I'm never going to have the time to start, and I'm never going to know everything I need to know in order to start.
That's true.
So, screw it. I'm going to start right now. So that was 2018.
So was there a certain thing that was like, that got you out of that? We call that like analysis paralysis sometimes, but is there like did something just click one day that you were just like, I mean, you kind of just said it, but just one day you were like, screw it, I'm just going to jump in. But was there something that was there a certain deal you saw happen, or like what really like brought you to that point?
Yeah, there was a lot of that actually. So I'll just give you like one example. A good friend of mine, we were in business together since like 2006. He was a school teacher at the time, and like I said, I was an engineer. We ended up going our separate ways because I had to go back to work. Mortgages, interest rates, all that changed in 2008. So I had to go back to work. He kept on going and became a real estate investor and started making, becoming very successful. And it kind of ate at me. I'm like, man, what would have happened if I would have made the other choice instead of the safe choice, And where would my life be? So that was one thing that pushed me. And then thoughts of being a teenager, a shy teenager. I remember being a teenager and missing out on so much, just missing out on meeting friends, missing out on going to parties, missing out because I was an introvert. So I had to force myself to be more of an extrovert. And then from then, started getting all these friends, hanging out. And I was thinking along the same lines, like, man, I just got to push myself and go. I don't care where I'm at, if I'm ready, whether or not, I just need to go. And that's what kind of pushed me to get started.
Awesome. And what year was that?
That was 2018.
Okay. Excellent. So when you were, and you said you were a broker, or?
I was a loan originator.
Originator. Yeah. Okay. And so that person though, that you said that they would take their money and then this investor would go invest it in real estate. Did you have like a direct connection with that person, or? Yes,
I had a direct connection with them, but I didn't know anything about that side of the business.
Okay. Did you ever ask him or her, or?
No, by then, no. Some things had happened where business was just not going good on that side of it.
Okay.
And people kept coming back to me and asking, hey, what's going on with my money and this and that. So I just kind of pulled out of it altogether,
Gotcha.
And decided to kind of restart.
All right. Yeah, I didn't know if you maybe went to him and was like, hey, I like what you're doing over here.
No, I didn't particularly like.
Did you ever go back and is he still around, or is he still invest?
He's still around. He's still involved in business, not in real estate. But he's still around. But we're still in contact. But we don't do any business together at this time. Yeah.
Gotcha. Right on. So you jumped in 2018. What did jumping in look like?
Well, jumping in looked like just I wanted to flip houses. So I had a friend that was actually running a real estate investment academy. So I decided to join his academy, and I did that for about a year, and then ended up getting a deal.
Nice.
I just leveraged some of my money from retirement money and things like that, and just went into a huge deal. It was a big deal. So
You might share the numbers.
yeah, so it was in the historic district, Los Angeles West Adams district. So it was like we ended up getting the house for 788,000.
Okay.
Which was good because we're planning to put about 185,000 into it and sell it for about 1.2. So the numbers.
Nice. That was your first
great.
deal.
First deal.
Damn.
Well, yeah. Well, you just wait.
Okay. All right. All right. Keep going. Keep going. How'd it go?
So this was.
And this was with a partner. The guy that
Yes.
there's the academy you're in.
Yes.
Okay.
So this was with a partner. This was at the end of 2019. So
Wow.
a couple months later, we had a pandemic breakout, right? And we had contractors that were getting sick, contractors that were even dying, people on their crew dying.
Wow.
And the need to having to change out
I
contractors.
thought it was all fake though. Okay, we're not going to go there. All right, go ahead. Keep going.
Yeah, I had to change out contractors several times in the middle of projects. So we ended up going through about 9 contractors on that.
Wow.
An 8-month project was supposed to take, ended up taking 3 years and 2 months. So, you know, the holding costs on that thing, the hard money payments and all that was just eating me up. The cost of materials shooting up, and the fact of changing contractors over and over again, it was just getting more and more expensive to where we ended up spending, gosh, like 360,000, like double on the rehab.
Wow.
You know, and at that point it was just trying to keep it surviving, keep it going, and get this thing unloaded because it's just eating everything out of my retirement money and everything. You know.
Yeah, that must have been a really tough call because, you know. So you closed in 2019?
Yes.
Or the end of
At the
2019?
end of 2019.
Okay, so you were a few months into it. What was your initial like rehab, or your initial timeline?
The initial timeline was 8 months.
8 months. Okay,
Yeah.
so, and then, yeah, I mean, going into the uncertainty of 2020 and COVID and all that, obviously. And I mean, what'd you do? Just shut down for a few months in 2020, or just keep going?
Just kept going, but it was sluggish, you know,
Yeah.
as we were in between contractors and all that, it was sluggish, you know, and then funds would run out and we have to take time to raise more funds. And,
Yep.
you know, so that all that would take more time, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And at a certain point, the reason I was asking if you just kept going or stopped, or because there was a point that, you know, when in 2020 that, you know, around March and between like March and June, July, you know, before it was, you know, that initial couple months where we didn't know. I mean, the people I was following and some of the industry and whatnot was expecting a pretty quick turnaround, but you know, that was tough to know at the time. So did you guys ever think of just selling it, like just get rid of it as for whatever you could get, like, or you were like adamant that you wanted to finish it?
So at the time, it's because during the process, it actually got better. Like it got to where we would have been able to sell it for like 1.7 instead of 1.2.
Damn.
So that was actually helping. And so I'm like, hey, the pandemic's actually a good thing. You know? But then right at the end, you know, one contractor was just taking too long. If we would have put it on the market when he said it was going to be done, we would have gotten that 1.7, 1.6, 1.7, and would have came out ahead. But he took too long. Interest rates changed. And those types of houses, those larger houses above median price homes, were not selling. So I had to reduce the price by the time we listed, and I ended up taking a $350,000 loss.
Wow.
Yeah.
On the whole project?
On the whole project, yeah.
Wow. So how much did you end up putting in? You said about 350?
Yeah.
And then you guys sold it for?
We ended up selling it for just under 1.4 million.
Okay. So, but you bought it for 7?
I bought it for 788.
788. You put 300. I'm not following how you lost
360 in the rehab costs, and then the holding costs were a lot
How-
because there was hard money.
How long did you end up holding?
3 years and 2 months.
Okay, I was gonna say you must have gone a lot longer if you were still had it when the interest rates. So you went through that whole cycle of things shooting up and then interest rates dropping everything back down.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was a wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So so that was your very first flip.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I commend you for still sitting here. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. So like what what made you I won't focus on that too much. Obviously, I'm sure there's 1,000 things you learned.
Oh, yeah.
That was probably a very if you keep going with it, a expensive learning lesson, but one that you hopefully will put together to keep moving forward. But
After that, everything else seems so much easier.
yeah, I'm sure, man. I mean, that's so okay. So obviously, you're sitting here today. This was back in, you sold it what, 2022?
Yeah. I sold at the beginning of 2022.
Okay, and we're well through 24 here. So obviously, you survived real estate. You're still up and kicking and doing more stuff. So, like, what was like the number one takeaway from that? Maybe one or two things if you want to talk about it, and then what are you doing now and have you made it back, I guess is the question.
So there was a lot learned obviously from that. I always say that was my college tuition. That loss was a college tuition, and I did learn a lot. One of the things that I learned was to have confidence, because my background and my W-2 side was involved in project management, all that kind of stuff. So when it came to this project, again, I had a partner. I was part of an academy. I was kind of more relying on their expertise and just taking the student seat, if you will. But there were times that there were decisions that were made that I know I could have made better decisions and probably saved, ourselves from getting into that situation. So I learned to have that confidence, and whatever my gut feeling is telling me, to go with it. So I did learn that. I learned that also, even though there are losses, there are more wins than losses. So if I just keep going, I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be able to achieve those dreams that I have. So those were some of the things I learned. And then on the technical side of it, I just learned a lot about the construction and everything else. There was just everything that could go wrong with the project went wrong with that project. So that was all a good learning experience,
Now, and I commend you for a lot of people, I know people in the club that have went and done a project and lost a third of that money and had a hard time, really bouncing back. So, what kind of stands out to me a little bit, and you kind of alluded to it, was, well, I guess, you're in this academy, and obviously hopefully that the people that were running that academy and that they were your partners, knew what they were doing. Why was it you said you could have made better decisions? I guess I'll just cut to the point. Why did they let it go for 3 years? That was
all because they knew what they were doing. They were doing a good job. Nobody saw the pandemic coming. And
I get that point. But you had quite a while between, if you sold at the beginning of 2022. Because we weren't in a project that, those numbers, but we were in the middle of stuff, around the same time frame, and then we had stuff run longer. Things run longer sometimes, but an 8-month project going 3 years is I would expect. I guess I would expect somebody that knew what they were doing more to be able to get out of that a little bit faster.
Yeah, so it's kind of a strange dynamic.
We can get 1.7 right now. Throw it on the market.
Yeah,
let's go.
It was like a strange dynamic, because it was like like I said, I went through a bunch of contractors. I didn't hire all those contractors. My partner hired most of those contractors, and I ended up having to fire a lot of them. And the reason why is because they were in the past very good contractors that did very good work. What happened was they lost a lot of their crew members or whatever it was, and they're still wearing the cape and acting like they could do this and that, but then when it came time to deliver, they couldn't do it because they didn't have the same crew. So going through over and over again, it was just, that was something that was unforeseen by not just me, but also the experienced.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
And I just had that happen to me on a much smaller project, but somebody I'd used in the past, and I just kind of, really just shit the bed, of like, dude, I don't know what happened between the last time I hired you and this time, but no thanks. So I get that point. Well, especially, those carrying costs and everything like that. So, hey, at least as long as you learned something from it, and you didn't let it get you down. Yeah. And we're not sitting here going, oh, that was the one flip I did, and then so what were the next couple like, and what are you doing now?
So actually, during that time, because it was such a long process, there were a couple other things going on. So at the same time, I was private lending. So I was lending.
Good.
I lent on a few deals, like 3 different deals. So and I saw good returns on those. So 12%, or there was one that's I earned 2.5% flat, and that was only like a 6-week investment. So
Cool.
So I got to see that side of it, and that was really good. Also, I had the opportunity to create a note for somebody that wanted to buy a mobile home, so I became like the lender, and that person was paying their payments on time and everything, and ended up dying 6 months into it.
Oh, wow.
So as the lender, I took possession and accidentally flipped that mobile home,
Interesting.
and just made a little bit off of it. So just seeing those wins kept me going, and also the thought of what's the alternative, if I don't keep going. And it's like I can't see myself being 65, 70 years old, still working for somebody. I can't see that and being happy. So just the thought of the alternative kept me going as well.
Good. Yeah, I was just talking to my mom, or she was actually on the show, kind of talking about it, and even on the worst days of being an investor, being an agent, it's like those worst days. She's got to remind herself, like, would I rather go back to sitting in the office for 40 hours a week,
right,
and commuting and doing all that? And she's like, hell no.
Yeah.
So
listening to all the flock talk around you that I hear, all the sheep, ba 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 ba,
Yep.
And it's just thinking they don't know what they're talking about. Like that would drive me nuts. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I hear you. So, like, what are you in the project right now, or?
Just finishing up a project to flip right now. It's on the market. It actually got an offer already after being on the market for 7 days.
Hey, that's excellent.
Yeah.
All right, you get a fist bump for that one.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's going good. And
Where's that
right now? That's in Banning.
Okay.
Yeah. So the inventory is low out there. That's helping us out quite a bit.
Okay.
So.
You said you live in Ukaipa, so is that kind of like where your first deal, you went all the way to LA.
Yeah.
So are you staying closer to home now, or?
Yeah, I want to stay basically east of the 15 freeway and the Inland Empire. So, yeah.
Okay. And then price range, price point?
Median price or below is what I want to stay at.
Okay.
Don't really care too much about the numbers, up to like, say, $500,000.
Okay.
Up to $500,000.
You learned a lot on that first
Sure
one.
Did. I don't want to hear about luxury houses or historic homes or anything right now. And,
Yeah. Did you run into anything with the historic, like, because you said it was a historic home?
Yeah. So
did you have to deal with the?
Oh yeah, because it was a pandemic, they didn't have their meetings regularly anymore. So they were reduced, and I had to get like paint approved or plants approved, or so that took a long time.
Type of wood you put up has to be the right. Yeah, I've heard horror stories. I haven't had to deal with it, but I've ran from every historic. We did one house in downtown Riverside years ago, and it was literally like 3 houses away from being in the historical district, so we did it. But if it was 3 houses over in the historical district, no, I would have wanted another $100,000.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit.
So, yeah, but no, I definitely agree. That's kind of what we've always played in is the starter homes, the median, the really below the median a little bit, but because you get into those those higher luxury markets and they can sit a little bit longer and take a little bit longer. And I'm saying all this as I just bought a luxury home in Arrowhead that is going to be my largest flip dollars wise that I've done. And now I'm having a panic attack. No, I'm just kidding. It's pretty straightforward. It's got some fire damage, but just got to fix some light fire damage, and then it's a straightforward lipstick. Nothing crazy.
Yeah.
So I just need the market to hold on. Long enough to get it sold. So hopefully,
you'll be all right.
Hopefully, like 2 months. And the interest rates are coming down a little bit. They went down to 6.25 today.
Yeah.
And actually, they're below 5 on the 15-year. I saw today. I was like, holy crap. So, I don't know. I don't know. Right? But things seem slow out there. I mean, you said 7 days. Why do you think you got you just must have been priced perfectly.
That particular area, the inventory is very low. So it's actually
And banning.
yeah, it's very low. So I mean, even the price that I'm selling it at right now, it's listed for 483. That's like really high for banning.
Really?
Yeah, but even the buyers are like, let me know if anybody else offers. We can adjust our offer. So they're willing to.
And is it pretty
pay
like
more.
cookie cutter 3.2 or
3.2? Yeah,
regular house?
regular house.
$500,000 in banning?
Yeah,
Oh,
right. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, I mean, if it's priced right, it seems to be going well. We did a bunch of mobile homes, and the first couple we put on the market, we explosion of offers and view showings, and but we still got a couple more that we just put on, same price point, a few months later, and it's just slow. It's just slow. Like I don't even think we have any showings this week, so we were just talking about dropping them.
Really?
A little bit, but it's weird out there. It seems. Is that the only project you have going on right now?
Right now, yes, that's the only one right now left over.
Okay.
So I'm looking for more. If
Yeah,
anybody
right.
Has any.
Yeah, me too. Me too. So, well, let's find one, man.
Yeah.
I haven't done one in banning yet. I've done. Did I do Ukaipa? I think farthest really down by you is more like Hemet and
Great area. Yeah.
Hemet, Paris. I know that that's coming a little bit more in from you, but I haven't really. But I know there's definitely a bunch of opportunity out there. It's everything's just going out further.
Yeah.
So
it is.
Have you done anything up in the high desert at all?
No, not in the high desert. I've been trying to avoid that just because it'll take me hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half to get there. And
Oh, really?
yeah. So it's not like I'm not open to it. I just haven't really pursued that area.
Gotcha. Yeah, Evan likes to say, he's like, if I would drive, because he did an hour commute, for so long. He's like, if I would drive for an hour for someone else, I'd drive an hour for myself. And I've kind of, as far as projects and flips wise, I'm okay with that. I think an hour and a half would probably be my tops for flips. I prefer them to be closer, but for all the rentals, they're at one point before I just moved, I could walk to all of them. But are you just flipping, or do you have some rentals that lock down? Or
so I initially wanted to start with rentals, and I only did the flip just to build up more capital to buy more rentals. And so I ended up in that situation where I'm having to flip my way out of the mess, but my intention is to have rentals.
Okay.
And once I do that, I can extend how far that is, of course.
Okay.
But so I'm still flipping for now for maybe one or two more projects. And then I really want to just start focus on buy and hold.
Gotcha. Yeah. I mean, I guess that brings us to the kind of the financial independence side of it. That's why we recently renamed the fire center and really just focused on the financial independence part. Because flipping's great and wholesaling's great, and I feel, but it's really easy to fall into that trap and fall into that beast, and it's addicting. Getting those paychecks.
Yeah.
And but I'm glad you have kind of a foresight to jump into the rentals. Obviously, it sounds like you want passive income.
Yes.
What does a day in the life of not having to work look like for you?
It'd be busy. So I have so much to do. I have a huge family. I'd love to hop on a plane and go out and see them whenever I want. I do want to spend time in the community, particularly with the youth, especially helping them get their start in life in general. Financially, health wise, all that stuff. Help them get the right start. Because typically we always listen to people who are around us, and then we go and make all the same mistakes they do, right? But so I want to spend my time doing that. So family, having fun, traveling. I love to go to different places, experience different cultures, all that kind of stuff. So
excellent.
Yeah, so that's what my life would look like on a daily basis. So.
Excellent. I freedom of time, is what it really comes down to. I always had recently. I don't know why I just had that epiphany recently. It was more that it was just a time thing. Financial independence for me was always just I wanted to go get a boat, and just travel and just be out there, But it was really the time, what I was after was the freedom of time. So, it's not that I would just sit and watch movies all day. You know, I
Right.
mean, some days I might, but you know,
Whatever you want, right? Whatever
yeah,
you want.
exactly. There's some days that I do. You know, I just disconnect everything, and
Yeah.
you know, and then other days I work 16 hours, you know, a day, and then the next day I don't.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting. So so you want to you want to work with kids. What is that like? Like as a coach, as a real estate coach, like just in general life. Like what's that look like?
One thing that I envision is like opening up community centers and areas where there's need, where kids are typically getting into trouble on the streets. You know, give them something to do, somewhere where they can go after school, somewhere where they can go on the weekends in their free time, and they can play sports there. There can be activities set up that gives them. Helps them go into financial education, like playing the cash flow game or something like that.
Yeah.
But just creating an environment where it's safe for them and where they can have positive influences so they can become contributors to society and pay it forward, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
No, that's awesome. I'm glad you bring it up. I didn't know that. You know, at some point, because obviously, you know, this place, you know, sits here for 5 days a week, 6 days a week, you know, when we're not here. So we have talked about in the past of doing some kind of community outreach thing out of here. So
Oh, that'd be awesome.
you know, we talked. We talked. It was Jim and I. Jim Keller brought it to me, and there was I don't remember. It was somebody that was working with like Home Depot or it was a while ago. And I was supposed to go to lunch and meet some people, and then it fell through. And but I would be interested in doing something like that. I think it would be really cool to do. We were talking about doing like some workshops, you know, just like with contractors, like as a skills, like a skills workshop for like, you know, for kids, you know, just like how to you know how to use a nail gun or you know a tile saw or you know just to get some trades in there because there's so much. You know, even with my own family, you know, there was always so much pressure to go to college, but the trades seem to be forgotten.
Yeah.
You know, or looked down upon.
Yeah.
You know, by.
And that's a great way to make income, and there is a void in that area now.
Yeah.
It's like nowadays the younger folks don't even know how to check their pressure in their tires, you know,
Yeah.
or check their oil or anything, you know.
Yeah, and there's I mean, I don't know if you've hired an HVAC guy lately, but you know, HVAC and plumbers and electricians and framers and you know all these trades. I mean, they're you know the HVAC guy. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
You know, it was like it took you 3 hours. You know, it was $500.
It's good money.
I was like, you know, they own their company. Like it was like, yeah, that's the rate. I'm like, wow. I should not have gone to ASU. I should have gone to HVAC school.
Right.
I mean, but granted, I mean they're crawling around in hot attics and you know and doing all that stuff. But you know there is a desperate need for trades and tradesmen and tradeswomen and you know
there definitely is.
I don't even know if people are the schools. I mean, how many kids do you have? 5 kids.
Yeah.
How old are they? What's the range?
The youngest is 22 and the oldest is about to be 29.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, like, okay, so they're not in school. They're not in school right in the second. Man, you pumped them out real quick. 5 kids in like that age range.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Yeah. That's what I want to do. Honestly, like we were just Caitlin and I was like, I want them all to grow up together, like just be close. I don't want like huge age gaps.
They're all very close. They're all within a couple of years.
Yeah,
of
that's
each
cool.
Other, you know?
That's cool.
Yeah.
So what was that's a whole other conversation. Hang on, we'll go back to that. So, when they were in school, which, you know, for the youngest one wasn't all that long ago, like are the schools doing that at all? Like, do they have like a trades day where they, you know,
not as much as they used to. I mean, I remember
they don't have like auto shop
and auto shop and all that. They don't have so much of that anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, why is it like a liability thing, or it just got cut, or
I have no idea. It's probably some bureaucratic reason in the schools, cut costs or here and there, or whatever. I don't know. I don't know why. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't. I mean, even when I was in school, at least the schools I went to, we didn't. They had a lot of like extracurricular, like hands-on, you know, like computers and stuff like that. But we didn't have like auto or wood shop or anything like that, you know. But anyways, we had talked about doing it here. So if you know anybody or you ever want to put anything together,
Yeah, that would be cool. That was actually on this last project. I was going to hire a bunch of contractors and do all the work and get it done in 4 to 6 weeks or whatever. When I got the lending for it, it was a 6-month minimum interest. So I'm like, oh, if I stretch it out, it doesn't matter. So instead of hiring contractors, because they were all pissing me off, So I said, you know what? There was a friend of mine that had called and said, hey, can I help you out with anything? Because he had heard my son got hit by a car, right? And so he was asking if he could help out with anything. And I told him, actually, you can. I go, are you working right now? He said, no, I just got laid off. And I said, well, I know you're handy with tools. You work on cars and stuff like that. You want to work on a house? So he's like, yeah. So I took him aboard and just said, okay, this is how you do the floors, and then had him do them. This is how you do the wall texturing, have him do them. Here's how you paint, have him do them. So we ended up just getting it done ourselves, and it took 6 months.
Yeah.
Which I was fine with, because that's how long I was going to pay interest on anyway.
Yeah,
so.
for sure.
But it was a way to create an opportunity for him to learn a trade, because now he's hooked. Now he wants to do this all the time, and it's a way to help him, in a time that he didn't have an income coming in too. So,
Good.
I like
pay
that
him
idea.
while he was doing it.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Did that help you on your side of things?
Oh yeah, I saved like about $30,000 on the rehab costs. So.
Nice.
Yeah, so I paid what, like about $3,000-4,000 more in holding costs, but I saved like $30,000 on the rehab costs. So
yeah, for sure,
worked out.
Yeah, I'm actually my dad's works in the movie industry, and I guess there are a bunch of them are going on strike or something, and so he's been looking for something to do, and he builds sets and does all that stuff, and so we were talking, and he's got a few. I was like, he needs a little bit of a crew to do what I have going on, and he was talking to somebody. He's like, it's not going to pay what they're used to making, or doesn't have any benefits, but
Yeah, right.
I got work, so, but man, you say your son got hit by a car?
Yeah, that was in the beginning of the year.
Wow.
He got hit by a car on New Year's. And it was bad. Like, we didn't know if he was going to live.
Like in another car, like he was in his own car, or
he
like
was a pedestrian.
wow, jeez,
Yeah, and got hit by a drunk driver.
holy shit.
So, and he got pinned under the car and dragged like 40 feet. I mean, it was really bad.
Damn.
Like, we really didn't know if he was going to live or not. And so at the time we got that news was when I got the message, oh, your funding came through for the project. I'm like, I can't even deal with that right now.
Yeah,
I can't even think about it. Yeah, so that's what happened with him. He's good. He recovered.
Good.
And he's got a little bit of a limp or whatever, but hey, we'll take that. He's
of course.
Still going
through
healing.
Man, that must have been hell.
Oh
Sorry.
yeah. Very
Jeez.
stressful.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Was he how old was he?
24.
24.
Yeah.
Damn. And he was just crossing the street, or?
Yeah, he was out at a rave for New Year's, and there were a bunch of kids walking in the streets trying to get to where they can get a lift to go get a ride home, and there were also a bunch of kids driving drunk and whatever else they're on,
Yeah.
because security wouldn't let them keep their cars there. It's like, no, you got to get them out of here. So you mix all those people on a bridge with no reception, and things happen. I think like 3 people got hit that night.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So he wasn't even the only one. Yeah.
No. One had minor injuries, one died, and
Jeez.
and then there was him in the middle.
Thankfully he made it, and
Yeah.
he's sounds like he's okay now.
Yeah, he's good.
So.
He's good.
Good. So, are your kids involved in real estate, or they want to be? Or
Some are, some aren't. They're all interested. They're all at that young age where they're figuring themselves out. But from what my wife and I can see, they keep kind of gravitating back to everything we've ever taught them.
Good.
Yeah. So right now, the youngest one he's really on. He's in college. He's got another 1.5 years to go right here at UCR, but he's already like actively saving his money, and he participates in investments. He's lent money privately and stuff like that. So,
Good.
Yeah. Good. So, and all the others they're making plans. They haven't made moves yet, but they're making plans. So
have they come out and walk some of the properties with you, or they ask questions, or
they always ask questions? They're always excited and interested. They've a couple of them have come to some of the cash flow games in the past and all that. And yeah, so they're engaged. They get excited when they hear about this stuff. So
right,
that's good.
Right. Good. Yeah, that's it's always nice when they, I guess, want to be, and you're not just dragging them along or
Right.
you know, forcing them, or they're sick of hearing about it. You know.
Yeah.
Right on. What's your wife do?
So she is a real estate agent. She is also pretty active in the community. She was an executive director for a soup kitchen. She stepped down to kind of help build our business. So she's
Gotcha.
focusing on real estate sales right now.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, what's her name again?
Alex.
Oh, I met her. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. She's been here before.
She's been here.
Yeah,
She's a member. She's
It's been a little while.
always busy. So.
Right on. Right on. So, well, cool, man. Cool. It sounds like you've learned from the mistakes. You've learned, you know, the hard way on some of it. You're still pressing on. You got a plan to pull down some rentals here coming up.
Yes.
Are you any idea where or what they're going to look like?
So I mostly want long-term rentals, just boring long-term rentals.
I agree.
But I do want a couple of areas, like say Memphis area, because I have family there.
Okay.
Louisiana, family there, where maybe those could be short-term rentals, just so that, mainly so I can have a place to stay when I go into town.
Yeah.
And it's another way to kind of supplement income, maybe co-host with somebody, so I don't have to deal with it. You know. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That was, you know, that was the nicest thing about having when I had my Airbnb or my short term. Was being able to go use it.
Yeah.
Because it was nicer than where I lived, you know, or any of my other houses. But yeah, I gave that up. So I agree. I like the boring long-term rentals.
Yeah, I want to find those renters that just love to do their own work on the house and will stay there for 20 years or whatever. I'm looking for those.
Yeah, we all are. You know, we all are. That's the ideal, right? You know, the ones that solve their own problems and you never hear from, and
yeah,
that's great. That's great. I have a couple newer ones that, I mean, they're just, especially in the mountains, because people move up from down the hill, you know, from down here.
Yeah,
and then they move to the mountains, and it's only 15 minutes up the mountain, right? But they don't realize how much of a different pace, how much of a different life they're getting into. You know.
Okay. Yeah.
There's more bugs, you know, there's more animals, you know, you have to, it's not like there's mountain lions, you know, walking down the street in the morning, but you know, you gotta deal with things, you know, so, you know, raccoons get in the trash and, you know, you gotta deal with that kind of stuff more regularly. You know, there are more flies and, you know, stuff like that, it's like camping permanently.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you got a house, but it's you know, the power goes out a little bit, you know, every once in a while, but it's great. I mean, there's so much trade-off for it. That's definitely worth it. But, you know, you have those heat waves down here, you know, it's 30 degrees, 20 degrees cooler up there.
Yeah.
Most of the time. Sometimes it's hotter, which is like crazy. But, but yeah, man, what's, like outside of real estate, what do you like to do? Other than travel and what you want to do, but like what's you got a main hobby that you stick to, or
when I get time, I like to just get out into nature. So usually that's a hike or something. I'll go hike up to the mountains, up into the mountains. You know.
Good.
So I like to do that, or get out to the beach or something and just to be out in the natural elements. That's what I kind of like to do. Mostly is what ends up happening, which I also love, is just hanging out with family. There's always some kind of barbecue or birthday party or something like that to go to, and I always have a good time with my family. So,
aside from your 5 kids, is the rest, your brothers, sisters, big family, like in the area, or?
Yeah, I do. I have a brother locally, and I have another brother and sister out in Memphis, and another sister in LA. So we're kind of spread out, and then just a huge family, cousins, just tons of cousins. Family reunions are big. They're like 300 something people there.
Nice. Where do you guys usually go?
They're all over the country every other year. So the ones that I've been to have usually been like in Houston, Louisiana, out there. The next one is going to be in LA actually next year. So
are you hosting?
I'm hosting, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm on the committee. Yeah.
A committee? You guys got a committee for your family? I guess for 300 people, yeah.
We need a committee, yeah.
Yeah, damn. Yeah, we used to have, you know, my family would do one in like Laughlin every year. But that was, you know, I mean, maybe like 40 people, You know, maybe more. I don't remember, but definitely not 300.
Yeah.
That's wild. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. What's what's going to be your signature on the one that's that you're running?
You know what? That just got decided, and I'm not on that part of the committee, so I don't remember what it is. I heard it, but I don't remember. It's going to be something related to like using the Dodger theme,
Okay.
but putting like the family name instead of Dodgers kind of thing.
Oh, there you go. There you go. You guys don't have like somebody's got to come up with like a prank or something for the class prank for the year.
No, not like that.
Like Roy's crazy. So right on, right on. So yeah, you got family all over the place. I mean, is there other family involved in real estate in different states or?
So what I'm coming to find out, over these past couple of years when I'm talking to my family about what I'm doing and all that, I'm coming to find out that there's a lot of people in my family that are in real estate
Good.
or in business in general, So I just sat down with a cousin. He's out in Jacksonville and he's buying rentals out there. I found out another cousin of ours is buying, flipping properties in Detroit. So
Nice.
so I have family doing stuff. I have some general contractor cousins in Houston, and so out here I haven't found anybody. So I'm looking for that, but I'm also trying to figure out a way that we can all kind of get together and put together a family trust or something like that, where we flip houses in it, buy rentals in it, and all that stuff, and just create wealth for the family.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's the reason I was asking because we talk a lot about I'm not a huge fan of investing out of state, but I would be if I had boots on the ground and a family and people and which I do in some states, and we've talked about it, but just because it didn't really work out with one family member in one state doesn't mean that I wouldn't be open to it. Maybe in I guess it depends who it is.
Right.
But that's cool that you have that, and that you're who brought it up? Like, was it you that finally said?
It's usually me. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
good.
usually me that brings it up.
But if you didn't, like, they wouldn't even know.
No,
Like,
no. And because I share a vision that I have with particular with the family is, why don't we, put together, create wealth together so that we can create a fund that's used for, I don't know, like creating 0% interest loans for college or starting businesses or something for members in the family.
Yeah.
And they have to pay it back at 0 interest to make it available for somebody else.
Yeah,
But
hell yeah.
why not do that so we could just build wealth for our family,
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you looked into like some of the family bank stuff, and
Yeah.
that's I haven't started doing it yet, but I know like Evan's looked at some of that stuff on, and that's. I don't think he's looking at doing it for 0% interest. I think you should do a little bit, but low interest. How about low interest? Because it's all gonna go back to the family. I think if there's, in my opinion, I think there's. There needs to be like a little bit of a commitment, I guess. Like other than I don't know. I feel like people. I know you didn't ask me for my opinion, but I'm going to give it anyways.
I'll hear it.
The like just getting it for free doesn't hold the same weight, I guess, as like even just 3%. Like having to pay a little bit back so that like it's now everything in there has been grown by the family and not just used by the family. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in like everybody's got skin in it kind of thing. That's just my opinion again. But either way, I think it's a fantastic idea. I wish there was more families out there that did it. I mean,
Oh yeah. I wish I could have grew up in a family that did that.
right. Like, yeah, there's I've definitely. At one time I had to borrow some money, very small amount of money from my parents. I wish that was at zero. I could have been able to pay it off faster. But it's because I mean, some of the stuff it's just so it's like why we have exchangers. It's just sometimes borrowing money, even if you qualify for it, just to get it from the bank is, I mean, like it's like. It's sometimes it's not impossible, but they make it seem like it is.
Yeah.
The mountain of paperwork and
They can take longer to get it and all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But if somebody wants to start, whatever it is they want to start, and the family says, "Yep, looks sound," here you go. You got to answer to everybody if you fall through and don't pay.
Yep. And you're going to see us every year at the reunion. You know?
Yep. And you won't be on the committee. So yeah, that's you know, I think that's a great idea, and I think that I wish you know more people, instead of relying on banks or government or whatever, like had that. But you know, not everybody's so lucky, I guess.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
but yeah, man, what does like? Because I'm big on goals. You know, obviously I'm going to do it. You heard I'm going to be doing a workshop here coming up, but like, I think it's important. I mean, to say I want to do a few more flips and then buy rentals. Like, in 2 years, do you know where you want to be? Like, do you know what your numbers are? Like, or how many rentals you want to have?
In 2 years, I want to be about halfway to my magic number that gets me totally free from everything, and that's
we call that the what's on your hat.
Yeah, my fire number. Yeah. Yeah.
So 2 years, you want to be halfway? Sorry,
I want to be about halfway there. Yeah. So by then, I want to have in 2 years, I want to have like 12 doors. That's my goal.
Dude, that's very, very achievable. Very achievable. I think, yeah, my initial 12 took me 2 and maybe 3. But that's very, very doable, you know, especially here in California and here out of state. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I think about here because I'm where I'm at, but I also look at other markets that are not too far, like I don't know, Nevada, Arizona, some place that I could drive to relatively quickly, but pretty close. You know.
Gotcha.
To start.
Gotcha.
Now,
good.
But that's not limited to that because if, like I said, I have family everywhere. If I have a cousin in Florida that's found some great deals, I wouldn't mind passively investing in that or becoming part owner of that. You know.
Good. So, I mean, have you written that down? Is it on the wall?
It's on right now. It's on a whiteboard next to me, and I need to put that on something more permanent.
Good. No, that whiteboard on the wall is like that's pretty permanent. I mean, you know, I know it's gonna be erased, but you know, still, I mean, that's better than just leaving it in your head. And because I'm sure people see it. Maybe your kids see it. You know, your wife sees it. You know, so that's good. I mean, I try and, you know. People like to say, "Oh yeah, I kind of like have this thing." Like, no, you got to write it down. Like, you got to have a plan. You know, and and that plan can change. I mean, I'm going back and part of the reason I'm doing this class and when I'm doing it is earlier than I did it last year. Last year I did it in late November. I'm doing it in September this year. Because I'm doing it right before my first kid is born, and because my life is changing, and which means my goals are probably going to get adjusted, and money's going to get redirected. Yeah, you know, now I have to have a kid house, instead of a boat house. So, which is fine. I'm still going to have the boat house, but now I need also a kid house. So, or kid number 1 house, and then I don't know. We're talking about, you know, we haven't figured out the magic number yet, but I don't want to. Yeah, I definitely would rather. I'd rather do what you did. Have a bunch quick. And, you know, I know it's going to be one of those first. If you had a choice, would you do that again, or would you space it out a little bit more?
I would definitely do it like that again, because then you can get rid of them all at the same time too. You know,
we jumped to the end. What was the beginning like though? Like, I mean, a lot of diapers for a few years.
Fun and chaotic, both as a great balance. You know, I would say a great experience, and it was good because their age differences, like I said, they're so small that they're all each other's best friends to this day. You know, so that's the good thing. For me, I was a younger child. I was like 8 years younger than my closest sibling. So
I'm 5 years between my brother and I.
Yeah. So I mean, we all have a good relationship, but it's not the same. You know, it's not the same as like our kids growing up together and playing together, having the same friends, all that. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess what I imagine, my fear, I guess, is, you know, I've seen that. I feel like I've seen that dad at Disneyland or wherever, where they have like 3 or 4 like really young kids, and they're all like not behaving, you know, at the same time.
Oh yeah.
And that guy just looks miserable. That's the part. So tell me the good side. Like, what's the good side of that?
Okay, so that is the good side, because wait till they become teenagers. Then you're gonna know what 7 years of tribulation really is.
Yeah.
Like it's when your kids are between age 13 and 20.
Is it? That's
the 7 year tribulation there.
That's the tough part. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all a learning experience. Kids are a blessing, So, you get through it, and now it's great. They're all young adults. It's great. They're like our best friends. So.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, man. Well, it sounds like you've done it right. I mean, if they're all still talking to you, you're all friends, and that's a big one. You know, so good for you. Good for you. Let's see how much time we got. No, we're pretty much there. So, Roy, any parting thoughts?
As we're sitting here thinking, I'm thinking about all the trials and tribulations that I've gone through in this business. And one thing that I would say to anybody is that if you've made your decision to become financially independent, just know that there are always going to be all kinds of roadblocks that get in your way that are going to make you want to give up. And what I'm saying is just don't ever give up. Just think of it as, the Olympics are going on right now. You have people racing, hurdle race, for example. Nobody runs up to the hurdle and stops and be like, damn, there's a hurdle right here. I can't go any further. No, the hurdles are made to be jumped over. So the challenges that you face are made to overcome. So and when you overcome them, you're gaining wisdom, you're gaining skills, you're gaining more strength. So it'll just help you in your business. And at some point it'll blow up. So yeah, that's what I would say. Never give up. Just keep on going.
Good words. Good words. I like that. It's awesome you mentioned that, because I literally on the way over here I was thinking about something, and it was like, don't stop, like don't give up. I was thinking, I don't know why I don't remember what had happened or what I was thinking about in general, but failure, and I don't think failure gets talked about enough.
No.
But I think the real true failure is not doing it again, like not trying again, just like not picking yourself up and doing it over, or learning, taking what you've learned and moving forward, and just saying, I tried this one thing, it didn't work. Woe is me.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do anything, now.
Yeah.
That's the failure in my mind, is not doing it.
It reminds me of a saying I used to hear. It was, failure doesn't occur until you give up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Clip that one, put it on YouTube or Instagram, whatever. Perfect. So one more time. Look at the camera.
Failure doesn't happen until you give up.
Exactly. So, all right, Roy, if people want to get a hold of you, maybe do some deals, talk about, more stuff, family reunions, how do they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
You can find me on Facebook. Social media is a good way to get a hold of me. It's, facebook.com. My handle is Roy Tompkins 22. Or you could email me. My email is roy@datepalmteam.com.
All right. Sounds good. Roy, it's been great having you on the show. Appreciate all the insight.
Thanks for having me.
And again, my name's Rich Rice, the host, and this has been Fire Chat. We host this out of the Fire Center here in Riverside, where we do weekly education and networking events for investors, current investors, people that want to get into investing, all kinds of different events here at the Fire Center in Riverside. You can check us out at firecenterhq.com. Again, that's firecenterhq.com. And if you want to get on this podcast with me or find out more information about that, you can go to firechatpodcast.com. And one more time, that's firechatpodcast.com, or you can use any of those on any social media and find us that way. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. Roy, thanks for being here, and we'll see you guys on the next one.
Thank you.